That's why I call PTSD processing traumatic situations differently. I have PTSD, but I'm processing it totally different than maybe somebody else.
Yeah.
True.
Mine's is laughter. So I don't lump everybody in. Mine is laughter. That person might be having a garden. They go out there and they can have a garden and they processing their PTSD and they processing their trauma and they doing straight. Some people processing it differently by doing something totally illegal. So it's not a lump all in one. And I don't want to say because a person got PTSD, they can always be bad. And, and a person got PTSD, they always going to do good. No. Yeah. It's a process. People process it totally different.
That's true.
And
let's go. Yo, listen up, everybody. Have you heard the news? We got a brand new show that's breaking all the rules. Started out from VA and now we on the move. From local to global, cause we got something to prove. We came from the bottom, now we at the tippy top. To hold it down for our people, cause we all we got. This a cold, cold world, but we keeping it hot. With a future on the line, ain't no time to stop. All work over here, still we having fun. Yeah, we say it like it is, ain't no holding our tongue. Go get us on the team, yeah, we getting it done. And shout out to Travell, yo, you number one. It started with a dream that turned into a vision. To educate new generations is our mission. Ears to the streets, yeah, we steady politicking. If it ain't about to change, mind your business.
Now wait again, minute. Wave your hands with it. Wait again, minute. Wave your hands with it. Now wait again, minute. Wave your hands with it. We top picks like we all up on the gram with it. Now wait again, minute. Wave your hands with it. Now wait again, minute. Wave your hands with it. Now wait again, minute. Wave your hands with it. We top picks like we all up on the gram with it.
You're now tuning into another episode of Wait Again Minute Podcast. I am Gam, and of course I got my sidekick, my co-host,
Miss Go Getter.
And today we have a special episode as we do every Thursday. But today I think is going to be extra special. With that being said, we have a nice gentleman here this afternoon, and I think you guys are going to love him. You know, I kind of love him already. But before we get started, hold on. My co-host, y'all, she was late today. So if she seems a little off today,
because I'm just getting here sitting down.
Please don't charge it to heart, charge it to her head. All right?
Don't charge it to anything because it really doesn't even matter.
So with that being said, Mr. Vernard, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank y'all for having me, and it's okay to be late.
Right.
It's okay. There's no choice. You was late, but it's thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
You know what? And I'm gonna second that. Thank you for being here today. Late but on time.
Oh God.
We definitely appreciate it.
But thank y'all for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
I had to wait a glam minute for her to come, but it was okay.
So sad. Can you please introduce yourself to our viewers, the listeners of Wait Again Minute Podcast?
Yes, well, my name is Vernard Hines, aka the Laugh Therapist. I'm a comedian, speaker, mental health advocate. I'm a husband and I'm a father, and I'm just an all-around good guy. I love to have fun. Laughter is my drug of choice, as you might say. I love to laugh. I love seeing people laugh. It is one thing that really gives me joy.
Right, good.
You sound like a pastor, though.
Well, I do have my degree. I do have my degree in
Divinity?
Yes, from the Minnesota School of Graduate School of Theology. In biblical studies. But,
see, I didn't even know
well,
that.
I mean, when I
listen to your voice, like, wow, you sound.
Well, when I was in Iraq, I heard God tell me to preach.
Okay.
Because I was close to God in Iraq, but everybody was close to God.
I'm sure.
So when I came back, I did some speaking and all this other, but it just God gave me this platform, and He told me to speak to His people, and that's what I'm doing.
Right.
For a different platform, but He's still getting the glory and all that.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely appreciate you stopping by.
And I thank you for recognizing my anointing. Good, great, look at that.
Look, hold on now. I don't know if it was the anointing or just the voice, because I was like, hold on, his voice does sound, he does have a nice radio voice, though.
Yeah.
You said radio voice, which is true, but you sound more like a preacher.
Okay, well, I'm going to see if I can get on the radio
and preach.
And preach.
Well, everybody else doing that. I'm sure it'll work. It seems like me the going thing right now.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about you growing up.
Well, I grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, born in D.C., stayed in D.C. for 6 months, realized there was crime, too much crime.
Wait a minute, you realize that?
I realized 6 months, so it was too much crime. So then we came to Norfolk because my family is originally in Norfolk. Graduate of Norview High School, class in 1986, go Pilots. And realized growing up that I was not the average student. I did enough to get by.
Okay.
Okay. I did enough to get by, so I never prepared myself. I had, as with a lot of people, childhood trauma. Didn't know it at the time. It was functioning trauma.
Right.
So joining the military was not something I wanted to do. I did not want to join the military. I was not patriotic. I said, as crazy as this sounds, I said, well, I'm going to join the military so I can get money for college. But I ain't do nothing in 12 years of school. So now I think I'm going to just join the military, get this money and go to college. So I didn't go to college in the military, but the military was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Okay, why do you say that?
It gave me structure.
Oh, okay.
It gave me structure. It gave me discipline. It gave me leaders who believed in me. It gave me friends for life. It gave me something to reach for.
Right.
And one thing about being in the military, you really don't have to learn anything. There's a book to teach you whatever you need.
Oh, okay.
It's called a FM. They call field manuals. From making up your bed to to whatever you need, there is a manual for it. So it was easy to follow the structure.
Right. Yeah.
It was easy to follow the structure, and I'm a people person regardless.
Right.
I love being a people person. So when I was in basic training, I followed the rules.
Right.
I didn't get in trouble till about 8 weeks. I didn't get in trouble about 6 weeks when I really found out, oh, this is a game. You do push-ups so you can get stronger. That's why you're doing push-ups. It ain't really punishment per se. It's a game. So once I learned that, like, okay, let's go along. So I had a good time. Then I started getting in trouble so I can do push-ups.
Now
Why not
that's
just
crazy.
do the push-ups anyway, just to do
Because it was not getting in trouble, but just doing stuff that so you as your drill sergeant, so you can get smoked.
Oh.
Because if you notice, when you start doing push-ups, you start getting muscles in places
Open up, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I was slim. I was like, okay. So yeah, so let's get in some more trouble so I can do these push-ups.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I mean, well, it's not crazy.
Yeah,
it goes along with you now.
Correct.
Listening to you. So how long were you in the military?
I was in the military for 20 years, 7 months, and 4 days.
Wait a minute, did you count down to the days?
Huh? I want it every day.
Yeah, that's
And people say, well, how do you know that? It was on my DD-214.
okay.
I didn't guess it or nothing like that. When I got my DD-214, it said that's the like a marriage certificate. It's like your certificate when you get out the military. And it said 20 years, 7 months, and 4 days. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this. So that's my PIC phone number also, 2074. If anybody want to play that number.
Yeah, I know that. Now I know the preacher ain't playing the lottery now.
Let me hit and bring it to anybody's church. Who's going to turn that money away?
Oh, nobody.
All right, moving right along.
Nobody. You are absolutely correct on that because you got to give God his 10%.
You got to.
Yeah.
And then there's a book in the Bible called Numbers. So there's a book of numbers in there. So
Yeah. So sad. So tell us a little bit about your time in the military. Then what brings you to our platform today? Because that's for me. I think that's where we really want people to really see, from where you came to where you are now. So tell me a little bit about some of the things that may have occurred while you were in the military that led you up to.
well, being in the military, you don't think about going in the military to go to war. You really don't. When you signing up, you sign because they don't come off and say you're going to war. They got college. You can go to college. You can do this. You can go travel. You can do this. So you're really not thinking about at 18, 19, you already, how can I say it? You already adventurous anyway. So if we talking about we gonna go to war or we gonna go somewhere, it probably would have been all right at 18 or 19.
At that time, yeah.
At that night. So when I joined in 1986, And in 1989 and 90, 1990, 91, 92, they had Desert Storm. And I never forget, my unit, we were supposed to go. I was in Germany. And we were supposed to go, and they came and told us, hey, the unit will be going. That's the first time I realized, war? You mean tell me we ain't going out here in the woods like we used to and come back in 2 weeks? They was like, no. So we was getting stuff together. And here I am, 20-some years old, in charge of people. So I'm telling them, hey, get yourself together. They said we might be going, da-da-da-da-da. And then when I released them, I went around the corner and I cried. I cried because I'm like, I'm going to war.
Right.
I don't got people going, and I'm 20-some years old. I couldn't wrap my mind around that. So then they came back 2 days later and said that they was taking another unit, and we didn't go. So I didn't do Desert Storm, but that was my first reaction or my first understanding. You are in a war organization.
Right.
You are here to fight a war. That's really, when you're in basic training, they train you to say you are a war fighting machine. You don't really think about.
You're gonna put that into action.
You got. But when they really hear war, So that right there allowed me to really understand. I need to really listen a little bit more attentively, take this thing seriously, because when you in charge of people and you taking them to war, you in charge of them too. Their life. You want to take them there and bring them back, just like you want to get there and get back. So I always took it as though I'm going to treat my soldiers with respect from day one. I never cursed at my soldiers. Never cursed them out, never belittled them, because I want you to respect me outside of this uniform.
Right.
I always wanted to give respect. Now, I got cussed out plenty of times. That's just what some people do. I just didn't. Now, did I curse? Yeah. I just never cursed them out. Yeah. So I took taking care of people, because that was my life, taking care. I always wanted to take care. So I took care of my soldiers. I have people now that we are still in touch from the military, and I have people who was over me that I'm still in touch with. So I was no super trooper soldier. Right. I would not tell anybody I was I did what I had to do to get along, to do what I'm supposed to do, make sure I get promoted. I was not a gung-ho soldier. I was an average soldier. But I knew that I love the camaraderie. I love having friends. I love having just people around. But I realized my trauma in that was laughter was a way to get me in. I never felt I could just be in on my own. I had severe low self-esteem, but laughter and making people laugh was always a way to get me in. Right. It's like, man, Hines crazy, man. Hines funny, man. You bring me to the barbecue, I'm the barbecue comedian. Right. We're going to have a good time. We're going to laugh. We're going to joke. That was my way of being in.
So you did laughter and all of this even when you was active in the military?
Nope, I didn't do comedy, stand-up comedy in the military. I was just a barbecue comedian.
So when you was in the military, what happened in the military? Because I know you mentioned, you had PTSD. So what actually happened in the military? If you didn't go to the first war, did you go to any other war?
Yes, I went to the Iraq War.
Okay.
2003 and 2005. But thinking about all of that, you have trauma that follows you all your life. Okay, then you get to a point, my therapist told me, she said, young man, there's a lot of trauma you have had. But going to that war and going to war, I don't know if that's the word she said, but it accelerated all the other stuff that was going on in my life. So the war, I knew, I went to the first war in 2003.
Okay.
We was in Fallujah. It was, if you look back at 2003, that's when the war in Iraq really kicked off. It was the worst fighting that was going on.
How was that though?
It was different because, okay, I was at my 16th or 17th year. At 20 years, you're supposed to be retiring. So I was planning, get myself ready for retirement, and now they say we're going to war. So I'm in Germany. Me and my family was in Germany. I left Germany, came back to Oklahoma, got stationed in Oklahoma. 6 months after I got there, I had to go to a war with a unit of people I really didn't know. Wow. I had to leave my family in a community of people I really didn't know. So I'm going to war with all this on my mind. Right. These are people, I'm new to these people. They new to me. We had to learn each other. Hey, can you shoot? Can you shoot? The trust level had to go to another level. And the anxiety of not knowing what was going to be on the other side.
Right. That was a lot.
Because you're hearing so much. You're getting these, we call them warning orders of, is bombing over here, is bombing over there, is bombing over here. And I tell anybody, if you can be somewhere and you getting bombed every day and that becomes normal, that ain't right.
Yeah.
That ain't right. We would play games like, whoa, today is the day. We gonna die today. This the bomb day. I would never forget. I'll never forget. I was on the phone and I was talking to my family, and you very seldom get a chance to get on the phone. And I'm on the phone, and I said, "Oh, I gotta go. We getting bombed." And I hung the phone up. Can you imagine what that did to them?
Right. Like, what in the world? What's going on? Like, what you mean you getting bombed? And then you hung the phone up before they can even ask.
Correct.
Like, what do you mean you getting bombed?
So when you are there and you call a senior NCO, which I was, you get all the briefings. So some of the people don't know that they're.
What's up, family? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wait Again Minute Podcast. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button as well. So when we drop a new episode, you'll be first to know. Stay tuned to all things Wait Again Minute.
Right down the street, round the corner, wherever we did, that they had a bombing. They don't know, we call them sit reps, situation awareness, or what's going on. So when you know all of this and you still have to go down those roads, you still got to do your mission. You still got to do that. You get a mind frame with, I don't care what's going on back home no more.
Yeah.
I can't worry about what's going on home.
Right.
I can't worry about the family. I can't worry about this. It's like, it's life or death, me against you. And some people, I had to get to the point where some people saw more than others. Some people saw more fighting than other people did. But if you in that area and you in that war zone, you are still in combat. Your body is in combat. So the first time we went, we saw a lot of fighting. I saw, we had 7 people die in one day. We had multiple people die. I never forget a guy who I used to speak to. We used to, young guy, we used to sit beside the tank almost every day at noon and just sit there and we would just talk at like lunch. Young guy talking about his family and everything. I had came home because you can get a little break. So I came home for 2 weeks and I got off the helicopter and he was getting on the helicopter going back home to see his newborn baby. And he said, Hines, how's the world? Because they call, if you deployed somewhere, you call United States the world. I said, man, the world is good, man. Enjoy yourself. I went to sleep because it was at night. I went to sleep. That helicopter took off. When I woke up, they said the helicopter got shot down.
Wow.
So I'm saying in my mind right now, God, why did you spare me? Because I just got off that helicopter.
Yeah.
Right.
I just got off that helicopter. So now I'm going, my boy gone. We got 6 more months here. We lost 7 people. So when you go in the military, when a person passed, you have to go, and if you're in like a war zone, they got a thing called the ceremony where there's a boots, there's a rifle, and there's a helmet.
I seen it on,
Yeah.
Sitting on the ground.
Yeah, the boots on the ground, the rifle is stuck in the ground, and the helmet is on top of the rifle. And we had 7 of them just lined up. When you have to go to one of those and you have been, we call it in country, and you have been in country like for only 5 months and you know you got at least 7 more months left, you got to compartmentalize this could be me one day.
Yeah.
Right.
So now you have to bury these, move, go from that to get my mind back in. Let's continue this mission. So you had no time to grieve.
Right. Yeah.
You had no time to think about, wow, this family. We had commanders that were so upset because they said, I sent them out there. I made him go home. He didn't want to go. No, go home and see your family. And then you get shot. That wears on a person.
Yeah, because he still didn't get to see the family.
Right.
He didn't want to go.
He didn't want to go, so the commander that sent him was feeling bad. So it is a lot of stuff that plays together in there that you compartmentalize in your mind. And then the first time I came back, I know I had PTSD the first time I came back. Okay.
How did you know?
By knowing what I know now, the way I was acting. I didn't want to be around people. I was always, I wanted to isolate myself. I was edgy. I was hard to get along with, but I forced myself to do things that I really didn't want to do. And because when we came back in 2003 and 2004, we trained to go back. So from 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, my brain was in combat mode. Because when you go, you're in combat. When you come back, you training to go back. So you in combat. Then you go, and you in combat.
So they had you come home for a couple of months just to train to go back?
No, we came home, and we was home for almost 10 to 11 months, but you already training to go back.
Yeah.
You have to stay in training. So you're going through those same survival modes, even though you still coming home. But when you coming home, you're dealing with a family that's been living without you for a year.
Yeah.
So they know how to function. So now how we going to integrate dad in this when he got PTSD?
Yeah.
We didn't know what it was then. It wasn't, we didn't call it PTSD then. We came back. It was like, are you okay? Do you need to talk to somebody? No, I don't need to talk to nobody. Because if you ask somebody, what's wrong with you? Ain't nothing wrong with me.
What's wrong with you?
They don't know.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? So it was rough after I got out of it and started looking back on it. It was like, wow, it was rough on everybody. It was rough on my kid's mom and my kids at the time. So that going back and forth was crazy because it was a lot of unknown. If you know about the Iraq war, it was a lot of unknown. It was go as you go. Nobody knew about IEDs. We used to ride down the road because they was putting IEDs in dogs, dead dogs. They were putting IEDs under anything. And we would ride down the street and we was like, yo, man, why is that lump in the road? Ain't nowhere else to go. You got to go down that road. And when we go down that road, we would ride and we would go. And once we get past it, we go, whoo, saved another day. Maybe tomorrow's out there.
So you thought it was like a bomb. So sometimes it could be a bomb or either it could have been just.
What's up, family? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wait Again Minute Podcast. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button as well. So when we drop a new episode, you'll be first to know. Stay tuned to all things Wait Again Minute.
Something fake to
correct
throw you off.
Because you have heard so much that they're putting them in dogs, they're putting them in roads. They found one at this road, they found one at that road. So you don't know if it's a dud, if it's real, if it's so much unknown. So you are always in hyper vigilant. You always anxiety. You always up, and you won't sleeping well. So when you ain't sleeping well, you agitated already. So it was a lot. It was a lot. I mean, I know somebody could hear this and be like, well, it won't all that. Well, that's for you.
Right. Yeah.
That's for you. You can't speak to my brain. I can't speak to your brain.
Right.
I can't speak to that other soldier brain. But that's what we had to endure. And we did it because in the military, you have to complete the mission. That's what your only job is.
So you said that you couldn't go anywhere else. So if you riding down the road and you see a bump in the road that shouldn't be in the road, you couldn't, like, there was no way to go around it, or
if you notice in Iraq, when we got over there, we weren't really in those cities. We was in the desert. So you made your own. That was road. You made your own roads, and there were roads, but sometimes you had to go through the actual desert. My wife will tell you now. My mind is so good. I can go one place, and then I will not need directions to go again, because sometimes in Iraq when you had to drive, you had to say, "Hey, that rock right there. That's where we turned that last time." Okay, we went there. Okay, now this way you got to turn.
So y'all basically fiddling and fumbling y'all way through.
Correct.
Huh?
We didn't have the first, in 2003 we didn't have the appropriate gear that the folks had years later down the road. We had sandbags in the floor because we had no sheet metal. We had to put sheet metal on the side of the trucks for bomb protection. I mean, we in Iraq. It's 135 degrees, 120 degrees, and we got on full battle rattle. Everything. It would be so hot sometimes that the water between the sweat between your plates and the sweat between your body would sometimes boil. It was something that when you're there, you don't really think about it. You just, let's do what we got to do so we can get back home. But once you get out of that environment, just like I believe anybody with trauma, when you in it, you don't really act. But once you get out of it, you be like, wow, I survived. I did some crazy stuff to survive. So I want anybody who listening to this to be like, or say, it won't all that. Maybe for you. And that's one of the big things about telling your story. When there's some people who done been to war 6 times, some people have been to war 7 times, some people have been deployed 5 times, some people have been deployed 1 time. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's your brain, your trauma, what you survive.
Yeah, and then too, it's like, everybody's mental is different. Like
everybody's mental is different.
I'm not even gonna lie. All of what you endure, I know that's nothing that could have been, unless like you said, I'm in the state of I got to get through this in order to get out of here.
You never know what you never know what your body can do until you have to do it.
Let me tell you something. I'll tell you something right now. I would be like, I probably will try to. Well, I wouldn't go AWOL over there because it would make sense. But I do what I had to do when I get back. When I get back home, I'm going AWOL. It's no way.
So you're not going back to try train for them 10 minutes. You done.
I'm done.
It was different. It really was different. Then coming home, okay, I left Iraq my second time. 6 months after I left the war, I retired. That didn't give me no time to figure out how to retire, what I'm going to do. I just wanted to retire. I had retirement papers, let me go. Moved back home to Virginia and had to face trauma that I had left.
In Virginia?
Yeah, because when you're away, you don't know that you lived in trauma, that you had trauma.
So what type of trauma did you have?
Is my blended family, not blended family. My stepfather. Okay, me and him didn't get along. Period. So that's another story.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's another story. So but coming home, when you come home retired from the military, first of all, people already think he retired, he got it going on, he got this. He good, and you don't want to come home like you ain't right.
Right.
So not knowing, I knew something was wrong with me. I didn't know what it was. Now I had an uncle, or we called him an uncle, who was a Vietnam veteran. Okay, now that we know, he had PTSD. So they would call him shell shock. They would call him, crazy. Go get over there in the corner. Why you just talking all the time? Just stop talking all the time. But he was one of the smartest people I ever met. This man read every day, could tell you stuff, but people wouldn't listen to him because he had the stigma of PTSD. I said, I'm not going to be labeled that way. Yeah. They ain't going to talk about me. No, sir. I'm not going to seek no help. I ain't going to talk to nobody. I'm good. Vernard, I'm good. No doggone well, I was not good. I was in a bad place to where, as I was sharing with her earlier, I had got to a place that I wish I had died in Iraq during the war, because I'd have been seen as a hero. I'd have been seeing, man, he died for his country. Instead of coming back and battling PTSD, drinking, being numb, being a father there but not present.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Going through a divorce. All that stuff I was not seen as a person who came back from war. I was seen as a failure to me. So I was like, man, if I had just died over there, I'd have came back in a casket with a uniform. That's how your mind think. Well, that's how my mind thought.
Yeah.
I'd have been in uniform. They'd been like, they gave my wife the flag. They'd been like, everybody been crying, like, but he was a hero.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of battling the PTSD, instead of battling all this other good stuff. So it got to a point where I went through a divorce. It was a lot of stuff from PTSD, a lot of stuff from not getting the help that we were supposed to get, all that other good stuff balled up in a whole lot of stuff to where I got to a point I wanted to kill myself. I had contemplated suicide. I was 24 hours away from killing myself. I had planned it, everything.
So you had planned to do it the next day?
No.
No.
I had, okay, the reason I say 24 hours because someone saved me 24 hours before then. I went to church. I went to the mount. I go to the mount, and Bishop Brown sits on the corner of the pulpit. Back then, he used to sit on the corner of the pulpit. And I went to him, and I said, sir, he didn't know me from nobody. I said, sir, I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what is going on. Everything is failing in my life, XYZ. If he had told me, son, let's just pray about it, and sent me on my way, I was killing myself. I knew it. Because that was my last, church was my last hope. He stopped me. He said, hold up. He called two brothers. He said, hey, come get this young man. Talk to him. Give him my phone number. Do not let him leave until you are sure he is okay. Give him your phone number. And do not allow him to leave until he is okay. That is the first time I felt seen. That is the
Wow.
That's the first time I felt seen. I said, no, he didn't see me for my PTSD. He didn't see me for my failures. He saw me as the person.
A hurting person.
A hurting. And that's why I do what I do now. Because I see that person that's hurting. I don't see your dysfunction. Yes, you might have it, but I see what you're doing. You are better. You got more in you. And from that point on, I decided I'm going to live.
Oh, wow.
I decided I'm going to live. And it has been a ride. It has been up and it's been down. But I said, I'm going to make sure I'm going to use my life now to be a service to others.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because we got to see these people. We can't see the dysfunction. Yes, there is dysfunction, but there's something in everybody.
Yeah.
So still things happen, and I went through a divorce, but I was getting some of the help I needed, but I still was not there yet. Then I happened to go to the Funny Bone one night, and I had done the comedy contest. I won the comedy contest, and I just happened to go one night, and I met a young lady who was visiting from Raleigh, North Carolina. And now she's my wife. From that one night.
How long ago was that?
13 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Or really 14. My wife, Trish, was the person that actually saw me again. And I felt like I still didn't have nothing to give anybody. But she has been, I call her my partner in recovery. Because that made both of us had to do something. Okay? She didn't know about PTSD. She didn't know about the military. She didn't know about that. She came in just as green as she wanted. She had no idea. She had no idea. I had lost weight. She didn't know I lost weight because I was sick.
She thought I was just
oh, he cute. No, he's sick, baby. So, but she has just been she has just been there for me. And I had also been there for her, but her being there for me was what I needed.
Right.
And I tell anybody, we had a lot of issues with the blended family and stuff like that, but one thing we knew we loved each other. We knew that if you know you love someone, people say, well, love ain't enough. It can be till you get to the point where you can give more.
Yeah.
You can get to the point where you can be where we are now, because we sit back now and we look at each other. We were like, ooh, we almost gave up at year 4. We almost gave up at year 3. And look where we would have messed up. The people we have helped, the folks we had talked to, the ministries that we have been in, and that's helped us, because we didn't get here by ourselves.
Right.
We did not. We had mentors who didn't tell us what we wanted to hear. They told us what we needed to hear. Right. We had folks who did the blended family thing, and most important, we had a church home who taught about mental health, who taught about finances, who taught about blended family, who was practical in helping. And we wanted to learn. We wanted to know more, because when you in a blended family, or you come from a blended family like I did, I had the trauma of being in a blended family, that I knew that the man was there, didn't care 5 cents for me. I knew it. I could feel it.
Your mom only child?
No, I have an older brother. Okay. But I knew it. So taking that trauma into a blended family, because I never wanted to be divorced.
Right.
Never. I said, if I'm getting married, I'm getting married one time and that's it. Been married. This is my 3rd marriage. Because I didn't know why I was that way, why I was a certain way, why I just wanted love, needed love, didn't know how to be by myself.
Yeah, because you mentioned earlier when you were speaking, you mentioned about low self-esteem.
Low self, and people like, man, how can you have low self-esteem? There's a lot of people walking around here doing great things with low self-esteem.
Yeah.
When they get off the Instagram, when they get off whatever, when they go home, they just as broke up as you want to be.
Yeah.
And and listening to you talk, even the more I think about it, like when you were saying that, God gave you that gift of the laughter, being able to make people laugh. That was your one of the, like, when you hear people who have low self-esteem, they can make people laugh. They can perform and do these things. But I wanted to ask you is, when you say you were married 3 times, so do you believe that because of all you went through made you the man who you are for the wife that you have now, so that you won't, like, what I'm trying to say is, because of your past relationships. No, she the last.
Oh, this is it. Yeah. You know what? And I'm gonna help her with, because I done the work.
Right.
Yeah, done the work.
Yeah.
So your relationships help you for the one that you're in now, so that you can be able to hold on to that rock.
Right.
Right.
And then is I did work on me.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Because nobody can be all and everything for you.
Right. You have to do something yourself.
You got to fix. You got to work on yourself.
Yeah, you do.
I had to understand I'm okay if I'm by myself.
Right. And that's the part right there that's most important. You have to know, and you have to be able to be by yourself. Because if you're able to be by yourself, then that lets you know you have to do some work. Because some people don't like being alone. Or don't feel like they should be alone. And it's like, if you don't feel like you should be alone with yourself, how you going to be alone with somebody else?
And you really got to find out what makes me tick. Why am I a certain way?
Right.
You have to know that, because if you don't, all you're going to do is carry that same person into the next relationship. Carry that same person into the next relationship until you get to the point where say, I need to find out why I tick. Why do I do a certain, and it ain't so it can be, and people can see me and be like, whoa, that's the laugh therapist. That's this. No, I want to be able to go home, and the same life I live at home, I'm living the same life if I'm on a stage, because you got kids at home who see you and be like, well, that ain't how you act at home.
Right.
You going off and cussing mom out at home, but you on this stage, you on this
Yeah.
platform talking about you did. No, I know the real you. I wanted the real me. And me and my wife wanted our real marriage to be the same way at home as the same way away. And have we made mistakes? Yes.
Right.
There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be, but once you realize those mistakes, once you go and do the work to fix those mistakes, okay, or those situations. But you got to have people in your corner who are going to tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
So at what point after you retired did you start going to therapy?
I started going to therapy. I retired in 2006. I think I started going in 2010.
Was this before or after you spoke with the bishop?
This was after.
You spoke with the bishop.
This was after. People was trying to get me to go before.
But you didn't.
But
you didn't want that stigma.
I ain't want no stigma. I ain't want to be seen. Plus being in the military, I got out working for the government, so I had a security clearance. So I felt like if I go seek mental health, if I go to, they're gonna say you can't have your clearance now. I'm thinking, oh, my money gone and all this. So let me just drink this alcohol and numb it this way.
Why is that though? Because a lot of people, even way back when the Vietnam War and all that, a lot of people when they've been in some type of war, they usually drink or do drugs or whatever. You know, when they get out.
Numb. All you want to be is a numbing cope.
But you would think that the military would have something set up because that's like a known thing for most. Not all, but most.
There are resources. Okay, there are resources, but sometimes the person has to want the resources.
Absolutely. That's right.
When people ride down the road and they see a veteran holding up a sign, and they be like, "Why he out there?" Sometimes that's where he want to be.
Yeah.
I don't have no responsibility. I don't have no family. I ain't got to go to work. I
can just come out here and get some money and go about my business.
Because I'm telling you, PTSD don't care about life, and life don't care about PTSD. They are going to collide. Yeah. They are going to collide, and we got to figure out ways to help in that
right.
colliding.
And I agree with that too. And that's true. A lot of people, some people that need help don't want help. But coming out the military, and since this is a long list or a long history of this same type of activity from people that has retired from the military, people in the military don't want to go to war, but you send them anyway.
Correct.
So when they go to retire, that should be a protocol. You have to go to therapy prior to retiring so we can make sure you're good, or even after you retire to get X, Y, and Z amount of money, you should go to therapy first.
No. You can't mandate. You can't mandate anybody to go to therapy.
Right.
But when you go into the war, you raise your right hand to defend the Constitution. You don't raise your hand and say, when I get out, I got to go to therapy.
They should have you raise your hand.
Didn't anybody?
Yeah, because you know what, though, I think that
but there are resources. There are plenty of resources.
Yeah, but some people don't know. Because you think about, you even said yourself, when you have PTSD don't care about life. Life don't care about PTSD. So if you have PTSD going on right now, you're not thinking about all the time those resources or how to go get them.
Correct, but there are, everybody don't have advocates.
Right.
And that's not just veterans, that's with anybody in healthcare anywhere.
Right.
My wife was my advocate. I had other advocates, but for some reason I just didn't listen to them.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put all the onus on. I know people get the VA a bad name and all this. You have to sometimes want it for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying because I done got it. No, it took me some time to want it for myself. What was your why? What is your why?
Yeah.
Some people might say, I don't want to go and get no help. I don't need no help. Okay.
Some people might say they don't know their why.
Correct.
Their mind is cloudy. When your mind is cloudy, you can't think of your why. You can't think of contact. You can't think of anything because your mind is cloudy.
So we always talk about the ones that didn't get help. We never talk about the ones that did.
Yeah.
That's true.
We never sit there and talk about, well, these are the people that did it.
Yeah.
And they are thriving.
Yeah.
We always want to go to the ones who didn't.
Because you want to help them too so they can thrive. Then we don't talk about them no more. Then we're going to talk about the next group.
But what I've learned is you can want it so bad for somebody
And that's
they
true.
don't want it.
That is so true.
And I've been there. I was that person that people wanted it so bad for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Until they were like, you know what?
Wash my
And
hands
then that's
again.
when they stop trying to push you to it. And that's when you start thinking like, well, Dad, maybe I should want it. Such and such told me.
I knew I really need to go and get some help when my daughter told me, when I heard my daughter say she was scared of me.
So you was having like some people I know with
She could-
they was having episodes.
No,
or
she
flashbacks.
couldn't be a child. She couldn't run up and jump on me.
Oh,
She
you
couldn't
didn't allow that contact.
you
like
couldn't walk up behind me. You couldn't, they don't know that as kids.
that. Yeah.
They don't know that as kids. So what I had to do was I had to incorporate them into therapy with me. To have my therapist explain to them. I couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
I'm battling myself. So when I say advocates, is so many people getting help that we don't even know about.
Right.
So there's some people that are out here doing great things,
Right.
and there's some people out here that's not doing great things.
That's true.
That's why I call PTSD processing traumatic situations differently. I have PTSD, but I'm processing it totally different than maybe somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
Mine's is so I don't lump everybody in. Mine is laughter. That person might be having a garden. They go out there and they can have a garden and they processing their PTSD and they processing their trauma and they doing straight. Some people processing it differently by doing something totally illegal. So it's not a lump all in one. And I don't want to say because a person got PTSD, they can always be bad. And a person got PTSD, they always going to do good. No.
Yeah.
It's a process. People process it totally different.
That's true.
And I just happen to find laughter as a way to process when I'm on stage and I'm doing comedy, I tell folks, all you getting is my therapy. That is so therapeutic for me because I cannot understand that when I'm on stage, I can remember jokes. I can pick off stuff in the audience and just go off the top of my head. But when I get home, my thought process and my mind sometimes be like, I can't even remember what was I supposed to be. So I look at it as like, how can I do that, God? I don't.
Right.
But that's the gift.
That God gave you.
That's the gift He gave me. And I don't want to leave this wait a glam minute for anybody to think I'm better or I'm doing.
Oh, definitely not.
It's like you have to sometimes want it for you. And that's just with any addiction.
Yeah.
Well, PTSD, I don't call it addiction, but that's like with anything. That person got to sometimes be like, okay.
Yeah. And knowing that, when you're at that point of, just like you said, saying okay, it's work comes behind it.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I think we don't want to do. We don't want to put in that work.
Work.
When you
We
got
wanted to go away and be like, oh, no, it don't work like that.
when you got to
have
peel
to,
that onion back,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and when you peeling the onion, what you doing?
Crying.
You crying. Because you're going to have to go to some places that you really
Don't
thought
wanna
you would.
go.
You remember when I told you when I moved back home, I had to face some stuff
Yeah.
that while I was away, I had to face it.
Yeah. It was on the back burner.
It was on the back burner.
Back of your mind, you won't think
I
about
don't think about it. But when you come out, you got to deal with it.
Like, dang, it's still there. I thought it went away.
You got to deal with it.
Yeah.
So you have to work. I wanted to work on myself so I could be a better husband, better father, and an overall better person.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to go to sleep at night and be like, I did the work.
Yeah.
The work is rough.
That's good.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
It's gonna be
because
rough.
It's like, especially cutting them onions and you digging deep.
But at the end, you are so much better because you understand yourself.
The release.
The release. And I'm in therapy to this day. And people say, man, why are you still in therapy? Because as I said, PTSD don't care about life. Life don't care about PTSD. When there's situations that come up in my life,
What's up, family? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wait Again Minute Podcast. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button as well. So when we drop a new episode, you'll be first to know. Stay tuned to all things. Wait again a minute.
I called my therapist. Hey, I need an appointment. I need to talk to you about this. I need to.
Sit down.
How's this? Why am I getting it? Because I don't ever want to get to a point where I think I have arrived. Because I fought so hard to get my mental to where I am now. Ain't nothing or nobody gonna allow me to go back to that place. So I would continue to do the work every day. And I have a wife in my corner who was, hey, you ain't acting right. Because we have got to a point where, and people get I had a person say, you allow her? Yeah, I allow my wife to tell me when I'm tripping.
Yeah.
Some spouses can't say that today. You can't tell some veterans, you can't tell him, you're a little tripping now. You ain't, everything ain't right. She used to tell me, have you taken your meds? We get defensive. I've been there.
Yeah.
I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing.
No, yeah, you can laugh.
I could see her. I haven't seen this lady, but I could see her in what you just said.
Yeah.
Ask you to get meds because, baby.
Yeah, we had to take the eggshells away.
Yeah.
Because everybody walking on eggshells around me. We don't know what to say to dad. Or we can't say this to dad.
So you have to allow them to feel comfortable too.
Feel comfortable.
Check you when you need to be checked. Because sometimes you need to be checked. Though.
We all need to be checked.
Exactly. Sometimes you need somebody. It goes back to when they say, if you're around people that goes along with everything you say, then your mental can't be right because they going along with everything.
And if you remember when I said from at one part in this that I knew she loved me. I had to get to a point where she loves me. There's nothing she gonna try to do that's gonna be detrimental to me.
Right. That's right. That's right.
And we was getting the same teaching in church, getting the same understanding. Sometimes we would go to church and not speaking and hear a message and be like, wow, it does matter where you go. I don't care what nobody. It does matter what you getting. If you going to church and you
being fed properly.
It does matter. Because if you ain't getting fed naturally, what you gonna do? Get fat, get out of shape and all that. So I ain't talking about nobody at church. I'm just saying you got to have that one-on-one. You got to be able to know that we getting fed.
Right, absolutely. So let me ask you this. Being that you have experienced all of this, what made you feel so comfortable now to be able to tell the world, some of the things that you have been through?
When you get to a point in your life where you think about taking your life and then you still have some type of ideations of that going on and you help someone, I got to a point, I don't care what people think or say about me. I have spoken to people, I have helped people off the ledge. I understood my why. So if I can talk to someone, if I can give somebody advice, if I can, because I'm not a licensed therapist, but I'm certified. If I can use my story, because what we are is really just a testimony. If I can use my story to help others and to hear others come back and say, man, I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you doing this. Then you feel like I have something to give.
Right.
I have something to give back that's useful.
Something valuable, yeah.
Something that's valuable, that's useful. And that's all we really want to be, is be able to be productive in society, do something that's not detrimental to your life. And I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. And the crazy thing is I use humor with it too. So humor is a way to make it plausible for people to understand it or the people to receive it, put it that way. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually good though, and then, with you sharing your life experience with people, you're right, it will help somebody else. And it's about no dollar amount can be put on that.
No.
You had to endure some things, and I'm sure looking back, you probably wasn't your preference. It wouldn't be your preference to go back that way, but just look at all the things that you have been through and where you are now.
Yeah.
Because had you not went through that, then you might not even be here.
And
on our platform today.
And I've asked God something. I remember I used to ask God, why me? And then finally I heard, why not you? Why not you? What makes you so, I can use you.
Yeah.
I can use you. And once you figure out you can be used by God, that's a beautiful thing.
But you know, the key to that is, though, that we should want to be used by God.
Correct.
And I think there's a lot of times we don't want to be used by God, but we want everything that he can give us. But we don't want that commitment.
Right. I heard somebody tell me, which was powerful. He said, we don't like long suffering. We don't like long. We like the other stuff, but we don't like long suffering. But it's in there. How long do we got to suffer? But it's in there.
I'm kind of look, man. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm kind of with you on that one too. Miss Go ahead and look for your question. I'm kind of with you on that one too, though. Like that long suffering. I don't know. Sometimes come on, there, guy.
Your suffering just be for a moment.
Yeah, you ain't gotta.
Because sometimes that suffering be like tough.
It is, and you like, okay, I got it. I got it.
It's like then you be wanting to know like what, behind every situation that's considered suffering or tough, it's supposed to be a lesson.
Yes, right? It is.
It's a lesson or a message behind it. But then you want to know right then, okay, I've been suffering for 3 days now. Tell me the message. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't get it, but then some not equipped to figure it out.
Correct.
Or sometimes it's not to be figured out this moment. It comes a couple of years later. Then you go, oh, wait, remember when that had to have been? Then you play everything prior to the suffering back that makes sense to what you assuming is your answer maybe 3 years later. Yeah. So nobody want to take that time, that sit down time.
No.
And one thing I had to get over, and a lot of people have to get over, is the spirit of comparison.
What's up, family? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wait Again Minute Podcast. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button as well, so when we drop a new episode, you'll be first to know. Stay tuned to all things Wait Again Minute.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people out there. And then especially with the world of social
media. You start comparing yourself. This person is doing this person is doing that. But I had to learn I'm doing my part.
Doing me.
I just got to do me. If God decided to put me, he done put me on stages in Las Vegas to speak at military front. So it's like whatever he decided to do, I'm going to do. Because I'm about to be 60 years old. So it's time for me to start slowing down.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
I know you do. You digging in your book. Like one of them questions she done dug up.
Yeah.
She was of age. She was of age.
I know that's right. What's going on here?
Okay. Your life didn't begin until
My life didn't begin until I felt seen at that pulpit. My life didn't seen till I got seen at that pulpit, because that is the point when I wanted my life to end.
That was the turnaround.
That was the turnaround for my life to begin. And it seemed like from that moment, everything wasn't perfect, but everything was a trajectory of going up.
Yeah. So that goes back to all the years prior was your suffering, your lesson to be learned. Then that day at the pulpit is when you got your blessing and your suffering stopped.
Yep.
A day of deliverance, so to speak.
Yep. Yeah. Suffering from that, then the other suffering start happening.
Yeah, and but that's how it is. It just seems like either you come in or going out. Yeah, coming in or going out. But what I don't understand is, and sometimes it kind of baffles me because I'm like, okay, it seems like when you trying to do right and you're walking, trying to get closer to God, it seems like stumbling block after stumbling block. When you're not, and when you're out in the world, it's like you just chilling. You ain't thinking about nothing. You just high, you know, just doing you. And it seems like when you trying to get yourself together, it's just like,
Testing
come on,
you to
man.
see
I
how
could have
focused
stayed
and
out there
determined you
because
are.
I come inside. When I was outside, I was
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
Now I'm in the, you know, I'm on the porch. I'm walking in the house slow. I'm scared to shut the door because I don't even know
What's behind the door?
what's going on.
What you
there.
walking into? Yeah,
Yeah.
but that might be just a test to see are you really serious about.
Oh, he know in my heart I'm serious.
You know, yeah, but
Right.
you still got to be tested.
Yeah,
It's just that when you go to school and you're trying to graduate, you still got to take that exam.
Take
to
the
see
test.
What you know,
And when you fail a test, what you got to do?
you got to
Take
repeat
it
and
again.
start.
They got to repeat it again.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this day and age, I ain't trying to go through some of the same tests. Like, I'm trying to get them.
No.
That's why I tell them, look, break it down for me, knock me over my head, and tell me this is true.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah, I'm in a season where people have been asking me to speak on podcasts and stuff like that, and I'm like, ooh, it gets overwhelming sometimes because it's like I'm sharing it, and I really don't care what folks think, but in the back of my mind is people really, because people gonna judge whatever you say,
Yeah, that's true.
and you got to get to the point that whether you said something good, whether you said something bad, people gonna take it, they gonna chop it up, you can chop this up all you want. Out there on social media, you can chop it up all you want because my family know my flaws. They know my mistakes. They know my people. I asked my kids. I said I might put y'all on my podcast one day, but then again, I might not because y'all might tell the only truth because kids know you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They know you.
They
So
do. But I think that'd be a good idea, though.
I'ma do
because
it.
I think, you know, because you'll be able to hear from their perspective because they're going to be raw and honest, right?
Yeah.
And you'll be able to hear some things that they may have never been able to share with you before.
oh no, they trust me. Them Negroes have shared it.
Okay.
We have had those sharing.
Oh, that's good.
Trust me.
That's good.
So it's going to be, but it's going to be during the month of the military child. I'm gonna do the month of living with a parent with PTSD. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we're gonna do that. I mean, it is what it is. They 32 now, 21 and 19. We have had the knockdown dragouts. We have had the dad with PTSD. They still call me. They still love me. We still hang out. So it's like, because one thing I've learned, I had to apologize.
Yeah.
I had to apologize. Dad was in a situation, and like I said, I took them to the therapist to understand and stuff like that. But still, when you are wrong, I don't care who it is, you got to apologize.
Yeah.
Then once I apologize and once I done righted the behavior, you're gonna keep just holding it on my head now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's time to move on now. Okay,
Yeah.
I apologize. I was wrong. I know what I did wrong. I'm trying to do better. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
Forward, yeah.
But in the same sense, too, though, Mr. Hines, like, I get all that, but everybody arrives differently. So we still have to allow them that time to get there. But I do understand what you're saying. Like, you're not going to hold yourself to the fire anymore because you know better. Like,
Well, what I say about that is, we can get to a point where we always going back to what we didn't do and how we failed and how we didn't. And once we have apologized, and I'm not speaking. Listen, I'm speaking for me. So let me say this right now, because I know somebody said, "Well, you don't know." I don't know. I'm talking about me.
right.
Once I done got to the point, I done apologize. I acknowledge you told me your heart. You told me how I made you feel. You told me. I never forget. My daughter said I said something to her when she was 8.
She never forgot it.
Until she was 18, she told me about it. It crushed me. I'm like, I didn't know. Didn't know how. She said, I know, but that's how I felt it.
Yeah.
And then for her to bring that to me, it was like, wow, apologize. I'm sorry. Now it's not as bad as it was because
Right.
Dad has acknowledged it. Dad has said he didn't know, and then we move on. So it's like, I can't speak for everybody else.
Right.
I'm speaking about the apologies that I had to give out for my part. And everybody plays a part in everything, but you just got to acknowledge your part.
Yeah.
You got to acknowledge your part, because we could get to, as a parent, and be like, I don't care. I'm the parent. You going to do. No, everybody got emotions. Everybody got feelings.
Yeah.
Everybody got feelings. I was hurt as a child. So why not? My child can be hurt by me, by my mess, my trauma, my stuff I didn't get right. No. And you don't want to keep passing that along to, as I shared earlier, you keep sweeping stuff under the rug. Now you got a pile.
Yeah.
Either you're going to trip over it or you just going to stop.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to someone to encourage them that they may be going down the same road that you just got off of?
The road never ends. The road never ends because as long as you're in life, you're going to have things that block you. You're going to have things that come up in your life. You're going to have things to try to stop you. You got to figure out what are the tools and the resources to get me past this. We can't get stuck and be like, well, this is just the way I am. No, we can't. No, we can't. We got to say, okay, I know I'm wrong in some areas. I know I want to get better. I need to find my why. Once I find my why, who can help me find my why? Everybody has to have somebody who they can go to and they can be real with them. You got to find, as we call it, that credible other. I still have a credible other that can check me. My wife still has friends that she can call and say, hey, your boy over here tripping. Not in a bad way, but he ain't in the right. And because sometimes she just can't say it. But the boy, my partner, calls, hey, man, you good? You good? And I know exactly what he's talking about. I don't look at it as though I'm a punk. He's this. So we got to not think we can do this walk alone because we can't. Okay? And like I said, I'm not a pastor.
Right.
Okay? But when Jesus was carrying the cross and he fell, didn't somebody get the cross for him? The guy that, see, that's why I'm the pastor. But someone helped him carry the cross too.
Right.
So
Cross alone.
everybody needs somebody.
Yeah.
But in our trauma, in our mess, we think we by ourselves. And what the enemy wants to do is isolate you. And if he can isolate you, he can bombard that mind. And I ain't telling you for some I think, some I know. When you in that isolation, your mind is being bombarded with, you ain't worth 5 cents. You ain't this. Your kids don't love you. Your wife don't love you. You a failure. You was this. And we will go to that more than we will go to, you just did 20 years in the military. You stood before generals. You got awards. You went to war and came back. You did this. You doing this. We never want to talk about that. We always want to talk about what we didn't do. So I would tell that person there's hope. Never, ever give up. I know it's easier said than done, but if I had gave up, I wouldn't be where I am now. My kids would be like, I can't believe my father left me that way. That would have been my legacy.
Yeah.
Not the legacy of I wasn't enough for him to stay around.
Yeah.
So it's like I look at stuff in the future. Now, me and my wife getting old, my grandkids, stuff that I was about to give all this up because I was in pain.
Yeah.
And the pain is temporary.
Yeah.
It might not feel like it when you in it, good God from Zion.
Yeah, that's true.
But if we know it's temporary. So
You're right about that.
I have enjoyed our conversation. I've learned a lot, and listening to you though, and looking at you, you don't look like half of what you've been through.
and that's why I couldn't be a pastor. Because if I had a church and somebody say I don't look like what they've been, if they say I don't look like what I've been through, I'm gonna say, oh yes, you do.
you want to keep it real fast.
You look just like what you went through, Mabel. But no, but I really thank you. I really thank you for saying that, because I'm telling you another thing that therapy does. And I'm just an advocate. You don't have to do therapy if you don't want to. It clears your mind to do other things. I'm walking now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in my mind is not foggy. So I'm able to exercise when I want to. I'm able to walk. I'm able to be more active. I'm able to laugh more.
Right.
It's clearing this fog out.
Right.
Yeah.
And even with clearing the fog out, and even like some days, like you said, the road never ends. So you may some days you may get clogged.
You may trip up.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
the
sir.
thing is, you have the tools to be able to get past that.
Yep.
And I think if we don't get those tools, then I'm not gonna keep getting cloudy.
I just want to use one analogy. I don't know if we're over time, but
no,
it
you're
is. Yeah, I paid to be here. So anyway, if you have luggage, okay, say like you got 3 bags and you going to the airport, okay, and you get to that counter and you have 1 bag that has more luggage or more stuff in it than the 50 pounds they supposed, they gonna tell you you got to pay a what? A fee, a over baggage fee.
Right.
Until you do what? Take some of, they tell you take some of that stuff out, and then you can put it on the airplane and the airplane can take off. But they tell you if everybody got over baggage and over stuff, if you put it on the plane might not can take off, right? I look at that as life. We got people right here carrying a suitcase full of baggage and they can't take off. They can't be what God called them to be because they're pulling baggage. Sometimes you got to take that bag, open that bag, and take some of that baggage out.
That's right.
Now, you still going to be living.
Yeah.
You still going to be functioning, but you are not paying the over baggage fee. And I still have baggage, but I done took so much baggage out, so much stuff out that I can fly now. I can soar. I can be what God called me to be. But at first, I had so much stuff in that bag, I couldn't take off.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay a fee either way. So why not just pay the regular fee and fly on instead of paying this extra baggage fee?
That's absolutely true. But we come to this part of the episode where you get to tell us, you know, how your time has been since you've been chilling with us on Wait Again a Minute.
This is nice. This is nice. But when you're talking and you're conversating, you're in your mind sometimes like, okay, I know a lot of people going to be seeing this, going to be people I might know. I don't want to share too much. Then I got to go and see them at Thanksgiving. Then we fighting and cussing because I done said something on Wait a Glam Minute. And they ain't going to say Wait a Glam Minute. They going to say Wait a Minute. So I would like to say anything I said up here, I have shared before. This is not something I don't blast anybody, but this has been a space where if you come up here, you feel comfortable. I feel comfortable right now.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable. When she went for that question, I was like, okay, what that question going to be? Because I loaded up my double barrel shotgun. I'm going to get to it. Well, come on with it. But I feel comfortable. It's a comfortable setting. There is no scripted questions. It's like, we're just going to have a conversation. And you can share what you want to share.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share. I don't know if I shared too much. I don't know if I shared too little. But I'm going to share. And my job is I pray that this has helped someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the resource, but I am a resource. And they can go further because my job is always to gain folks' trust and then give them to resources.
Yeah.
Because there are more resources than just me.
Yeah.
But I thank y'all for having me.
And we thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with that being said, stay tuned to all things Wait Again a Minute. Good night.
Good night.